I had an abscess on my groin and I went to the doctors. They drained it, and basically what happened was the groin became infected and I contracted sepsis and flesh-eating bug disease called necrotizing fasciitis, which didn't really help my mental health, to be honest. I was told at one point that they were desperately trying to save my leg, and at one point as well I was given 2 hours to live, which is when they called my mum and dad in to come and say their goodbyes. I got very, very lucky and I'm fully repaired. Mentally it was a challenge, especially when I was ill, because I was suffering from like a medically induced psychosis, where they were pumping me full of morphine and other drugs. I was hallucinating, I was becoming delirious, I was seeing things that weren't there. I thought the nurses were trying to kill me. Really horrible situation. And as I came out of that medically induced psychosis, I started suffering with flashbacks, so it's a form of PTSD as well. And I still get all that today. It's not easy to cope with sometimes. I was never formally diagnosed, but after the hospital, I was having counselling sessions with a senior consultant, critical care, and she said she's seen this many times before, and she said it was a form of PTSD, although I never got a formal diagnosis. I find myself bursting into tears for no reason. I find myself very short-tempered sometimes, and I find myself getting annoyed about the silliest things. I remember recently my son, he came home and he'd had his ear pierced, but he hadn't had it done professionally. He tried to do it himself with a needle. And my first thought is, you're going to become infected, because that's always there at the back of your mind. And I'm thinking, how can you put us all through something that I've already put the family through, where you're putting yourself at risk of becoming infected? And I lost the plot. I'm not afraid to admit it, I lost the plot. But then you have to take a step back and think, you know, I need to start controlling this. I have. I tried CBT. That was recommended by the GP and the critical care consultant, but for me it didn't work. For some people it does, I understand that. For me, I just didn't find it very rewarding. I also tried some hypnosis as well, which tended to work short term, but I found that the best form for me of help was self-help, helping other people, volunteering, having chats with people that have been through the similar sort of thing as I have. So there's a lot of work I do now outside of my normal paid work, which helps me get through what I'm going through. I never thought I'd have a mental health issue, no. Since having that, I've realised that everyone has mental health issues, but it's just how we manage them. But no, I could never have imagined going through what I've been through, and it's tended to, now I look at the world in a completely different way. My wife, as I say, suffers from anxiety, and she used to have panic attacks. She still does have panic attacks. Whereas I used to be very short and brusque with her almost, you know, come on, you can get through this. Now I have to understand, and I do understand, that it's not her being silly as I used to see. She's genuinely suffering. And it's my responsibility to get her through that. For myself, my future, I'm going to carry on giving. That's what I want to do. I want to get the word out there. I want to get the word out there to the construction workers, the people that work for me on London Underground, that it is okay to have these issues. You should be talking to one of us or your mates. It's okay to talk. Since I've become a mental health first aid instructor, just through word getting out that I've done that course, I've had 3 or 4 people. This was only, bear in mind, 6 weeks ago I've completed the course. I've had 3, maybe 4 people reach out to me who really want help and have come to me for the right guidance.